So this summer has been an incredibly productive summer for creating art, and I wanted to take you on a little tour through what I have been working on over the last 3 months. I've also been doing a lot of digital work this summer, and I wanted to share some of those pieces with you. So earlier in the summer, I did this digital collage in a live session with Peggy Dean, which was really fun. It was great to explore different ways of combining images and then adding in some digital touches. I figured out how to do color addition to black and white images in Procreate, just kind of experimenting during that session, which was really fun because I really enjoyed using this vintage picture of this woman and kind of going back to my interest and kind of a slight obsession with gas masks and stuff. So this was really, really fun to work on. And then I also did my own Skillshare class. So obviously there's some digital stuff there, but those were mostly just for the class. I began playing with some of the brushes in Jutta Schneider's digital classes. She had a bunch of really fun sessions using some fur brushes. So this was kind of a warm-up activity that was part of one of her Skillshare classes that then grew into this fuzzy monster that I was able to then kind of personalize with the butterfly, which is a signature image in a lot of my pieces, and then really play with textured backgrounds and the fur brushes again to create this super fluffy looking adorable monster. Another piece that I created, I've been working my way through the Kickstart Your Creativity class with Lisa Bordeaux, which is one of her Skillshare classes. It's a long running class, so I'm only a couple drawings in, but the first drawing was to do this cute little orange, and then we moved on to a pear illustration, and then after that came this egg one. It's a really great class because it builds up your Procreate skills from the very basics, and every drawing you add on new layers and you get more practice with the skills. So I've been doing Procreate for a while, but I don't use it consistently because I'm an analog and a digital artist. So this has been really fun to remind me of some stuff that I have kind of forgotten and not gotten a lot of practice with, as well as to learn some new techniques. And what I'm learning is every digital artist, just like every analog artist, has a different way of approaching things and tools and techniques. So it's been really fun to see Jutta's way of approaching Procreate art and Peggy Dean's way of approaching Procreate art and Lisa Bordeaux's and many others that I have taken classes with and can't wait to take, and others I'm excited to explore. So those are 3 of the drawings of the many that are going to come out of that. And then I also really enjoyed doing this YouTube drawing with Jutta in theme with the Barbie. So it was all about kind of learning about Barbie typography and how to incorporate that into your own name and get some really neat lettering skills that you can use beyond Barbifying your name, which is super cool. And then and then I did this digital pun class with Claire Makes Things. She is another fellow Skillshare teacher, and she loves puns, and she just makes it so much fun. And it was really kind of a neat way to see how she incorporates illustration and texture and graphic design and lettering into her work, and then kind of put your own spin on it. So this is from Claire's class, which is on Skillshare. She also has a ton of stuff that she puts up in her blog, and you can kind of find Claire everywhere, which is great. And then I think the last digital piece that I worked on this summer, this is from my friend Kelly's class. She is another fabulous Skillshare teacher. It was a monochromatic kind of cut paper look. So it was another way of working with Procreate that gave me even more practice with some stuff I already understood, but then also gave me some new skills and kind of ways to consider how to do digital art and illustration, and how to achieve the cut paper look. So this is Kelly Burke's class. It's really fun. And then we kind of played with different ways we could adapt our monochromatic images, easy ways that Procreate helps you change stuff. So this is all of the digital pieces that I worked on this summer, and I'm excited to do a lot more with digital in the coming fall as I continue Lisa Bordeaux's Kickstart Your Creativity class and explore many others. So in the spring, I created a Skillshare class called Create Your Own Sketchbook for Drawing on the Go. And I've been on the go, filling up my sketchbook with different adventures ever since. So some of this goes back to the winter, but starting in the spring on different road trips that we've taken. I know the kids went to the playground, and I kind of did some wonky sketches there of the parking lot. Cars. This is actually a car in the parking lot at preschool pickup, playground. And then I love taking Skillshare classes from fellow teachers. So this is from a class by my friend Riddhi that does Zentangles and gemstones, combining two really fun things. Those are two of the pieces that I made for that class. And then there's still many more pages I can fill up in this sketchbook. This I'm going to do another YouTube video about. This is my summer 2023 sketchbook. So preview, just a quick, everywhere we went, I drew and sketched, and sometimes I spent more time on them than others. Sometimes they were just kind of quick in the moment while we went through a museum or had an experience as a family. But this I'm going to do a big YouTube video about later, as I've got a couple more pages to finish up and summer is quickly winding down. So I'm going to fill up the last 3 pages and then I'll do a video for this one. Then I also have really enjoyed working in some of my travel sketchbooks. So for those ones, you take an old book and you gut it. So you take out the insides, and then these sections you sew them together. Oops. This one is currently stuck. It's not actually attached. We'll find one. So they come out, which is why it's a travel sketchbook, because I can put pieces in and out as I want. I can change up my papers, and then it's got this really nice hardbound cover, and then the elastic bands to hold them in there. So some of the pieces that I've made this summer, this is from the spring when I was teaching a class at our local community resource center, but we went to the car show as a family, the Deutschmark Gilmore Car Museum show. So I sketched some of the other vehicles. And this one I love jumping around. This was, just a mixed media piece that I did while I was waiting while my son was doing swim lessons. This was, kind of working with the bleed through of the fish. So here's an unfinished thing that I'm working on. Lots of pieces from other times. This is another one I made this summer where I had done a gouache background as preparation for a Skillshare class, and then I didn't actually come back to this project. I finished one painting, never came back to this page. So then I went back in with Posca and brush pen and colored pencil and just kind of added details there. This one is liquid watercolor applied with a wet paper and a fork, and then like going back in and adding in details as I was inspired. And then I'm really excited about the bleed throughs. So that's going to be something I'm going to explore this fall more, is what happens with the inspiration that comes from the bled through page of a piece of art. Let's see. Are there any ones in here from the spring? So these are from the spring. Let me see if I can find a summer one. Oh, so this is one. So this was the original octopus done in like a timed drawing one. The bleed through is what became this piece that I just love. This is one of the pieces that I've made this summer that I just absolutely love. I'm excited to explore this more. And then I went back to the original one and started playing into that one a bit. So that was really fun. Let's see, some older pieces from earlier in the year. Sketching everywhere. Oh, these are some from the summer. This one, the watercolor I had already done, but then I went back in with ink. This one, I think I was using the bleed through again. Nope, I think I just made it up. I don't know. But this is another abstract piece that came out of that. There's another one where I'm starting to play into the bleed through. This is a summer one. We were at the beach, so I just kind of started sketching, my boys in the water and some of their sand toys on the beach. Embracing the wonky, the landscape in the background. We were on Lake Superior in Michigan in the US. So that has been really fun. And then I have a larger one that I haven't done a ton into this summer, but it's got a lot of potential. This was a summer one that I did. This was actually part of one of the Tuesday night Art of Education Instagram lives that they do, where we had different drawing prompts we were following, led by one of their featured art educators, and just playing around with that. I think that might be the only one in here from the summer. Just testing out my zebra pen. Sometimes when I test out stuff in there, oh, this was also testing out some new fountain pens that I had gotten. So it started out as doodles, but then I wanted to salvage the page. So even though I was using my sketchbook as a place to just experiment, I then turned those, which you can hardly see them anymore, into the inspiration for something else. So going back into this with more fountain pen and black fountain pen over the colors, and then brush pen markers for that, which is super fun. I think that's all I did in that one. And then I did make a watercolor sketchbook. This is the Perfect Sketchbook model, or the Perfect Bound book that I did in Amaya's class on Instagram. It was super fun. The intention was I did it all with watercolor paper. I was really set a big goal that I was going to paint for all of International Watercolor, or World Watercolor Month in July. And all that I achieved was making this beautiful sketchbook and doing this initial painting to get myself going, and doing some quick, super light landscape studies while we were traveling in June. And that was it. So in August, I had started working with exploring Viviva watercolors. And so I just did some color studies just to kind of see what the colors were. And then over the course of the last 2 weeks or so, I kind of painted back into it. All of these were done while we were traveling. Many of them, this was done at home, I think. But these were done in the car just while we were driving. And then we were on a boat tour of the pictured rocks off Lake Superior, out of Munising, Michigan in the US. So this is kind of the rocks and the trees and the water. And this was just an abstract that I did on the drive home. And then what I would do is I would take wax paper. So I would paint a page, and then it was still wet, but I wanted to be able to close my book. So I would put the wax paper there, and then I could shut my book without too much worry that it was going to make a huge mess all over the place or ruin the next page of the book. So a couple little watercolors in there, not too much. Oh, this is another one I did. This is also while the boys were swimming at a beach in Lake Superior in Michigan. Just kind of some driftwood, like an old tree that was down and washed up against the shore, and the landscape, and this was a mix of brush pen and watercolor. So that's why it's a little bit more vibrant. So not too much in there, but I'm very excited to have this sketchbook that I can continue to work into. And then what has occupied most of my time as far as sketchbooks go is this seated notebook that I made in Heinrich Drescher's class through Carla Sondheim's website, where she hosts a lot of artists, including herself, who teach many different classes. So in Heinrich's class, we had these giant sheets of pastel paper. We randomly collaged into them. Then we chopped them up and folded them and glued them together to make a seated notebook. And then the collage pages, like this one, are then the jumping off point. What I love about this is there's no front, there's no back, there's no up, there's no down. So a lot of times we were traveling this summer, or if I had some moments and I could sit on the deck, if we were home, I could just open it up to a page that inspired me and go back into it with ink and brush pens, markers, Poscas, whatever, collage more into it. So I've got a couple pages that I haven't done yet, but I have some that I really love that I want to share with you. There's this one where I went back in with Posca and fountain pen, I think it was, mostly Posca. And then I need to obviously do some more gluing down to kind of touch that up. But let's see. This is another one. I did this one in the waiting room at my kiddo's dentist appointment, I think. So some of them, there's not a lot added to them. This one I went in with some liquid watercolor at home, because I was kind of experimenting with the liquid watercolors that I had gotten to see what they would do. It's another unfinished page. This is another one. I think this was also at the dentist, or at least started at the dentist. The great thing is the pages don't ever have to be done. I can keep going back into them as I'm more inspired. So this is an in progress page. This is one I did, I think, in the car. or at swimming. I don't know. I was arting any chance that I got this summer, which is really exciting because I think I have made more art. I know I've made more art this last year. Like if we started like school, I'm a teacher, so I think school year. So September to September, August to August, than I've made in decades. But this last 3 months of art making has been my most productive, I think, maybe ever as an artist, which is very exciting. So I was arting anywhere and everywhere. I was constantly throwing art supplies in a bag and taking them with me on the off chance that I had time to play. So that's what a lot of this is. This one was done in the car, I think, again. And unfinished pages, and I'm excited to go into. This is the start of one. I kind of started building off of it, and then life interrupted me, which is no big deal. I can just go back in and work on this some more another time. And some incomplete. This one was also at the dentist's office. So it was a long appointment, so I had a lot of time to create a lot of different little pieces. Let's see. There's more pages in here to work on than I thought. I'm excited. I thought I'd pretty much gotten them all. Oh, there's another one playing with liquid watercolor. I love the shine, especially against the mateness of the India ink, which is really cool. And there's another one, just kind of continuing the lines from the collage piece and then building on those to turn it into something else. Here's another one. This one I think was done, I don't know, earlier in the summer. But I had a lot of fun making it. That much I do know. There's another one that I did. This was done at home, I think. Just playing in the kitchen. A lot of times my boys take a long time to eat. So I'll eat faster, and then I started in like mid-July, I started taking advantage of those lunch hours, and instead of jumping up and starting to clean up, I would get out my sketchbook and I would start working on a piece while they finished up their lunch. And just kind of enjoying that moment to sit while they were happily eating lunch and chatting with each other. Here's another one. This one ended up having a face come out of it, which is pretty funny because the rest of the book is completely abstract. So it's kind of entertaining that I saw a face there. And some more unfinished. Oh, here's another one. Just playing with lots of different materials, whatever inspired me. I really like this one, like the fish eye that kind of comes out of that. And here's another one. This one I really enjoyed because it could be finished and it could be unfinished, but I like the play of, most of them I covered all the paper back over, the original paper that I'd put down. But this one I let it be open, and I really love how that turned out, or is turning out. This one I love. This I did in the car and just kind of embraced the wonkiness of the movement of the car and the lines that came out of it. And I really enjoy this piece. There's another really fun one. This one I just finished on our way home from our last summer vacation trip. In the car, all of it was done in the car. So just Posca, fountain pens, and colored pencil went into this one. And then, oh, this is another one I did. This one I did at home on the deck on a beautiful sunny day. I really love this one. And some of my paper's coming up, but I'm kind of liking that, just embracing the fact that it's imperfect collage. And this one I also did on our vacation. This was in the car mostly, I think. Maybe a little bit at the table, I'm not sure. And then I've got the start of another one. So seated notebook, super fun. I have loved working on this. I will absolutely be making more of these and continuing this artistic process. And then the other exciting thing was that at the end of July, I published a new sculpture class called Illustrative Character Collage. And out of that, in making of the class, this character was created. It's kind of cowboy guy. And so this one was really fun because I built the background up, and then I kind of used my decorative papers and whatever inspiration came from that to kind of build out this character. And then I really loved the process, and I wanted to try it another way. So then this robot came out of, I sketched him out first, just whatever came to mind. And then I used that, I kind of scribbled on the back and used that to transfer over the shapes onto the different decorative papers I was using. So he is completely out of watercolor textured paper, or different watercolor technique papers that I have left over from another sculpture class of mine. I love making decorative papers. So any chance that I can reuse them and incorporate them and push them further, I will. So he was built up bit by bit. And then this butterfly I love butterflies. It's kind of my spirit animal, or, you know, whatever. I just have always loved them. So this butterfly kept popping up in my magazine collected papers. So then I was like, how do I work it in there? And then I decided I'll just make my own. So that became this little butterfly. And then once he had a butterfly, then I was like, oh, flowers, and how do I work that in? So that's how he grew. And then I was still feeling butterflies when I was looking at the decorative papers here from a marbling thing that I did with shaving cream and liquid watercolor. So that became this really wild butterfly character. And then, you know, this is scraps from other stuff I cut out, and then some backgrounds that I had made as part of one of Denise Love's classes that I think it's atmospheric. I can't remember the name, but she's got so many great classes. But the idea was atmospheric ink, you know, ink and watercolor landscapes. So I chopped up a bunch of those and then inked back into them and kind of let it grow from there. So all 3 of these are what came out of developing that class, and I am super excited about it. So anyway, that is what I have created so far this summer. We have 1 more week left before school starts, and then we'll be working on fall stuff. So stay tuned for a sneak peek of a deep look into my summer 2023 on the go sketchbook. That is mostly ink drawings while we're out and about on different family adventures. And I'd love to hear what art you have been working on this summer. So please feel free to share in the comments, add links. I'd love to go check it out on your Instagram or website, wherever you share your art with others. And I hope you have a creative rest of whatever season you are experiencing in the world.